Yes, in the last class we have seen this border layout. Let us continue with our next topic, uh, that is using insets. Okay, so this is also a very important topic. Let us see. Sometimes you will want to leave a small amount of space between the container that holds your component and the window that contains it. It is just like as in a cell spacing and cell padding you have learned in your web technology, right? Yes, in your web technology you have learned about cell spacing and cell padding. So using inset is a small amount of spaces you are providing between container to the component. Container means your browser, so your browser to your controls. Okay, so to do this, override the get inset method that is defined by the container. So if you want to give the spaces between control and your web browser, then you have to suppose to use get inset methods that is defined by the container. This method returns an insets object that contains top, bottom, left and right inset to be used when the container is displayed. So this method returns an inset objects and contains top, bottom, left and right spaces to be used when the container is displayed. Okay, so it shows some space between your web browser space to your containers, your components. Okay, let us see. These values are used by layout manager to insert the components when it's lays out the window. So these values, what are the values? Top, bottom, left and right. So according to that, whatever you have set, the layout manager insert the components when it arranges in the window. Okay, layout means arranging. Yes, the constructor of inset is shown here. Let us see what is the constructor method of your inset. Your inset, it consists of into top, left, bottom, right. So what are the four values? Top, left, bottom, right. Yes, these values are placed according to whatever the space you are providing. It gives the space between your component as well as container. Okay. Yes, we are seeing this get inset methods. The get inset method is having general form. This is the general form of a get inset methods. Okay. Yes, insert, get insets. When overriding this method, you must return a new inset object that contains the inset spacing you desire. So whenever you call this inset methods, the automatically get inset method will override whatever the space that desires. Okay. Now, to understand this insert concept, please observe here in your output you are seeing these are the controls of a last program. You are identifying the spaces between your browser and your component. Okay, so your container is having space here and here space here and here space here and here is space here. So to get that space between the component and control, these are the controls and this is the browser, right? So to understand this concept, let us see this sample program. Import java.awt.star, import java.applet.star, import java.util.star. So these are the packages we are using. Okay, so next we have to suppose to write this applet tag. In the applet tag we have to use code attribute. In the code attribute you are passing the address of class. And now public class insets demo extends applet. So what is the name of the class? Inset demo. It is public and it is inheriting the features of applets. So in the last class we have learned about this sample program. We are writing the same sample program and we are modifying with first we are using the init method. In the init method you are setting the background color. So this is the default method, it is a built-in method. By using this set background method you are setting the background color.cl. Set layout, you are taking the layout as a new border layout, so you are using the border layout manager. And now you are adding the button. In this button you are giving the text as the value should be appear on the button as this is across the top, and you are specifying its style as border layout dot north. And you are adding one more control, that is a new label. The text should be appear on the label is footer message might go here, and border layout dot south. North means top, south means bottom. Add new button, you are adding one more button, that is right. The text appearing on that is right, and its layout is style is east means right side. Okay, and once again you are adding one more button, that is left, and its layout is west. So west means left. Okay, next you are placing this string. In the string you have typed all these messages and you are adding this string message to your text area and you are suggesting its style as border layout as center. Okay, so once you have done, now you are using public inset get inset method. So whenever you call this get inset methods, it returns new inset of top, left, bottom, right. So you are specifying the spaces of four corners of 10 pixels or 10 pixels or 10 points. Okay, so hence you are getting the spaces between your control as well as your component. Okay, so to understand this concept, let us see, copy this program. Let me copy this program. Before that, yes, let me see, let me copy. I'm copying and taking notepad plus plus, and I'm taking new file and I'm pasting, and let me copy this and take your notepad and paste it. Now save it with insert demo, copy, save, and ensure that you are saving in right folder. Yes, save it and move to the command prompt and alt enter cd slash cdjdk 1.4 slash bin. Now java c, what is the name of the file? Inserts demo, right? Let me take inserts demo dot java. No error. Applet viewer inserts demo dot java. Sorry, this mistake. Java. Now it is opening, right? I'm ensuring that it's observed here. I'm ensuring that yes, it is showing spaces between top, left, bottom, right with the 10 spaces, right? So these are the controls: button control, button control, button control, and this is the label control, and this is your text area. Got it? Clear? Yes, likewise it will be surrounded, right? Okay, so that is the usage of your insert. Okay, and now next we are moving to, this is one of a very important layout. This question will ask border layout and grid layout as well as the flow layout is also the question, very important, and also insert is also asked. So these questions will ask, so you just give more importance. So grid layout, as you know what is a grid. Okay, grid is nothing but a cell. What is a cell? Combination of rows and columns, right? Intersection of rows and column is called as a cell, right? So grid is nothing but rows and columns, right? Grid layout lays out component in two-dimensional grid. Here it is suggesting it as a, whatever the control you are placing, it will be placed in two-dimensional. When you instantiated a grid layout, you define the number of rows and columns. So whenever you assign a grid layout, you define the number of rows and columns. So you have to specify how many rows and how many columns you have to make arrangement of your control in your component. Okay, control in your component. Yes, the constructors supported by grid layout are shown here. Let us see what are the methods are available here. First one is grid layout. It doesn't consist of any number of rows and columns, so it is a dynamic grid layout. Automatically it will takes. Okay, and here second, here specifying in num rows comma in num columns the parameters. You have to specify number of rows and number of columns. And in the third form, you are specifying number of rows, number of columns, horizontal space as well as vertical space. Okay, so you are specifying horizontal height and vertical height. Okay, the spaces between horizontal and vertical spaces. So to understand here, one program is there which specifies a 4x4 grid and fills with 15 buttons. So you have to give more attention on this program. If you don't give the attention, then you can't understand this program. Okay. So let us see import java.awt.stock, java.applet.stock. These are the compulsory packages, and this is the compulsory tag you have to supposed to use, right? Applet code is equal to grid layout demo, width is equal to 300, height is equal to 200. That's it. Now you are writing public class grid layout demo extends applet. Public class grid layout demo extends applet. Okay. So what is the name of the class? Grid layout demo. What is the name of the class? Grid layout demo. Okay. Extends applet. Extends applet means it is inheriting the applet class. Now static final int n is equal to 4. Static final int n is equal to 4. You are declaring one variable. It is a final and as well as a static. It is constant and static. Okay. Now public void init, you are initializing the method, initializing your applet, and you are first setting the layout. Set layout of new grid layout of n comma n. So you are setting the layout, that is new grid layout. You are taking the grid layout. Okay. So grid means you are arranging. So what is the n value? 4 comma 4 rows and 4 columns, right? So if you want to assign any layouts, you have to use the set layout method, right? Yes. Now set font, you are using the built-in font method. Here you are assigning the new font. Set font, new font. In this new font, you are specifying the name of the font, style and size. Name of the font is your sans serif, and style is font.bold, and size is specified. Now to display the content, let us write one nested for loop. For int I is equal to 0, I less than n, 4 condition is true. For int j is equal to 0, j less than 4 condition is true. 4 rows and 4 columns. How many elements we can fill? 4 into 4, 16. But in your program we are only filling 15 buttons. Please observe here. Okay. Now you are processing int k is equal to I into n. What is I value? 0. What is n value? 4. 0 into 4, 0 plus j, 0. 0 plus 0 plus 0, 0. So k greater than 0. Whether condition is true, false. So it skips. And next, once again it will come here. J becomes 1, j less than 4, condition is true, and it will process 0 plus 1, it will 1 greater than 0, condition is true, it will add blanks place plus 1. So what you are actually adding your component, this statement indicates you are adding the button control. You are adding the button control to your component. Okay. Yes. So likewise you are adding 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 and so on, right? So it will repeat. Let us see. Let me copy this program, and you will came to know how the grids are arranged. So almost in our part C program we have used grid layout, so that is very important. You just look it over. Now what is the name of a program? Grid layout demo. I'm copying and I'm saving and pasting .java. Save and come here and alt enter. Now compiling Java C grid layout demo .java. Now applet viewer grid layout demo.java. So if you run, you are seeing this button 1, button 2, button 3, button 4 you are added. You are not specified any space, but these buttons are added in the form of rows and columns. Okay. So these buttons are added in the form of rows and columns. Clear? Yes. Likewise it will evaluate. Okay. So that is about your grid layout. And next, card layout. So this is also very important. Card layout to grid layout question has asked, so you are not supposed to neglect this topic. Okay. Now let us see. The card layout class is unique among the other layout managers in that it stores several different layouts. So card. So in the card layout is one of a different among the other layout managers. Why? Means it stores several different layouts. In the card layout you can store several different layouts. Okay. Each layout can be thought of being a separate index card in a deck that can be shuffled so that any card is on top at a given time. So whatever the different layouts you have used, that can be having one specified index, it is just like as in a deck can be shuffled so that any card is on top at given time. Okay, just like you just take it as a your spare card, split cards, right? So we do not know if whenever we shuffle which card will become at the top or whichever card is going to be bottom, we do not know. In the same sense, in the card layout you are taking multiple different layouts. Whenever you are using that index values, according to the index values, it may be on top or it may be on bottom. Okay, this can be useful for user interface with optional component that can be dynamically enabled and disabled upon user input. Why we have to suppose to use card layout? For the dynamic arrangements. Dynamic arrangements means sometimes if you feel your interface is bore, then automatically it has to turn out, right? So where we are actually using these kinds of layouts in your smartphones, whenever you swipe your interface, it will give some actions, right? So that action is based on these card layouts. Okay, so whatever the action you have specified, according to that action the layout will execute. Okay, if you say it as in a random, in the random it will pick different steps. So hence in your interface arrangements it is very important. Okay, now let us see, you can prepare the other layouts and have them hidden. Yes, let us see the constructors of a card layout. Here the first one is the card layout. It is default, it is nothing has happened in the card layout. In the second constructor, it consists of horizontal as well as vertical. We are specifying horizontal space as well as vertical spaces respectively, spaces between the components. So by using this card layout, what you are doing, you are specifying the spaces between the components. Whatever the components you are using in your browser, whatever the tools you are using in your browser, that can have some spaces. The cards are typically held in an object of type panel. So as you know what is a panel, right? Panel means it holds a group of control. This panel must have card layout selected as its layout manager. So if you are using this panel, it must be have card layout. In that card layout, it has been selected by its layout manager. When card panels are added to a panel, they are usually given a name. Whenever you are adding the card panels, you have to suppose to give the name of the panel. If you don't give the name of the panel, then it becomes a confusion, right? Thus the most of the time you will use the form of add when adding cards to a panel. So if you are adding a cards to a panel, then which method we have to suppose to use? We have to use add method. Okay, so let us see void add component panel object comma object name. So you have to add panel object and whatever the object you are adding in that panel, that is object name. Yes, so to understand this concept better, we will have some programs. You just observe that programs. Here name is the string that specifies the name of the card whose panel is specified by the panel object. After you have created a deck, your program activates a card by calling one of the following methods by defining the card layout. As we have seen, it holds different layouts, right? So in the different layouts, you are placing all the controls in a panels. Whatever the panels you have spaced, you have to be supposed to be mentioned in the form of a deck. Okay. Yes. Let us see what is this deck. First, here some of the, while picking up your layout, automatically it will choose according to this card layout. And the void first container deck, it consists of a first container deck first space, void last place or last panel. You can be treated like that also. Void next, it is the next. Void previous, it is just like as in your navigation controls, right? Based on the navigation controls, after the first deck it consists of a second and so on, right? Now to display the deck as well as the containers, then you have to show, we have to use void show method. In the void show method, it consists of container deck string card name, container deck string card name. Okay, here deck is a reference to the container that holds the cards. Here deck is the reference to the container, it contains reference to the container that holds the cards, and card name is the name of the card. Card name is the name of the card we are using. Okay, calling first causes first card in the deck to be shown. In the deck, a deck is a bunch. In the bunch, it shows a first card, first layout. To show the last card, it shows the last. To show the next method. To call the previous method. All these are methods we are using. Both next and previous automatically cycle back to the top or bottom of the deck respectively. Let us see. This show method displays the card whose name is passed in card name. So if you are using show method, then you will came to know which deck you are calling. Okay, which deck or which card you are calling based on card name. So to understand this concept, let us see this sample program. If you observe this sample program carefully, then only you can understand. Otherwise you can make head or tail about this topic. Yes, so these are the packages we have to supposed to use, and this is compulsory tag as we know till now. Now we are writing the name of the class. What is the name of the class? Card layout demo extends applet. Please observe here, it is extends applets, implements action listeners, mouse listeners. So it is inheriting the applet class, and it is also we are performing some events. If you are performing some events here, action listeners you are clicking, mouse motion listeners you are dragging. Okay, so you are performing those events. Next, you are declaring the object of checkbox classes. What are the objects? WinXP, WinVista, Solaris, Mac. Okay, so you are defining these things. Hope you are understanding this concept. We will continue in the next class. I will explain this program in next class.